Raditz, the character that set Z into motion. I mean, think about it. If he never showed up, Z just wouldn't have happened. Maybe down the road, Jiro would have built androids, but one way or another, Goku's life would have been destined to either be mundane or dead. Raditz caused Vegeta to show up. Vegeta caused them to go to Namek. Coming back from Namek caused Frieza to follow them, and all that caused Jiro to gain so much information that he created Cell. And all of that spiraled constantly until they achieved new and new power levels and became strong enough that Babidi's attention was finally garnered and he made a second trip back to Earth. Without Raditz, Z simply wouldn't have happened, at least not in a recognizable way. But what if Raditz was in the story even more? Well, that's a story that we continue today with What If Raditz Fought Goku at Kame House. Now, if you're new to this channel, part 1 is right above my head. Please go check that out, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'm aiming for 500 subscribers by the end of November, and I think we can do it. In our last part, we saw the epic conclusion to the battle for Planet Vegeta, and along the way, many Dragon Team members unlocked brand new forms. Goku unleashed his Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken state for the first time, Vegeta unlocked Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, and Raditz, most impressively of all, unlocked Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker. But all of it combined wasn't even enough to take out the evil Saiyan Cumber. No. It took the combined effort of most of the Dragon Team to manage to take down this titanic Saiyan in forms of power and stature. From Krillin's Spirit Bomb infused with the power of several Saiyans on the battlefield, all the way to a fusion between Goku and Gohan, utilizing the ultimate form, it took everything in their power to finally take down Cumber, but they succeeded. With Cumber now sealed in a Z-Sword by Beerus, King Cold and Cooler captured by the Galactic Patrol, and Frieza on the loose, we continue our story right on Planet Vegeta. It had been a few weeks since the battle for Planet Vegeta, and Vegeta found himself on the planet still, overseeing repairs of the damage caused, and seeing the installation of a Galactic Patrol outpost. The Prince of All Saiyans at first was quite reluctant to see such an outpost be constructed, but even he couldn't deny the effort that they put into the battle. They had lost many people, and although the Dragon Balls could bring them back, the fact of the matter was, the sacrifice still took place. He also couldn't deny that the space was definitely there, with there only being a handful of Saiyans in existence, and not all of them even remaining on the planet. They would probably like the company of the Galactic Patrol outpost, to add a little bit of a community to the planet. But all of this was actually kind of on the back of his mind. He was thinking more about an event that took place just after the battle had ended. A new figure had showed up, one that made Beerus as worried as Vegeta was when he first came across the God of Destruction again. As it so turned out, Beerus had a superior named Lord Zeno, who made his appearance, excited to see the battle that had unfolded. He wanted to introduce himself and meet some of the key fighters in the battle, and, unfortunately for all of them, Goku was happy to introduce himself. What followed was a small conversation between Goku and Zeno that ended with him receiving a button and Zeno declaring that he was a friend, and it was put into the Lord's mind that a tournament should be hosted sometime in the future. Goku proposed perhaps a 1v1 type setting, like the Tenkaichi tournaments, but no. Zeno enjoyed seeing an all-out battle and was looking forward to another one in the future. As that was going on, another revelation befell the Dragon Team. The Grand Priest, attendant to Zeno, approached Champa, calling him out on the fact that he was secretly trying to collect these things called Super Dragon Balls, to which Champa immediately fessed up to. Beerus was upset at first, but upon hearing Champa's request, he made an amendment and promised that he could use the Super Dragon Balls, provided he restore his own Earth, rather than trying to take Universe 7's away from him. But Vegeta saw the Grand Priest calling Champa out as something else, possibly the fact that he would want to use the Super Dragon Balls for himself in the future, so he wanted opposition out of the way to have the Dragon Balls just be available to him when the need arose. After all was said and done, however, most of the people parted ways. The Dragon Balls were brought forth and used to restore Namek and the citizens that lived on it, but when they did so, they realized there were two people unaccounted for. Granolah and Moneto didn't come back to life. With both of Earth's Dragon Ball's wishes having been used, that left the charge of teleporting them back to their known area up to planet Namek. But those Dragon Balls needed to be restored. It was going to take a little bit of time, and Vegeta was getting on edge, a bit worried that something was going on that he needed to stop before that happened. After a long while in solitude, it finally dawned on Vegeta what could possibly be going on. He thought about the interior of their building, the time that he had been in it, and he realized there was a Dragon Ball on display there. It was something that Monato had, and it was probably a set that he himself controlled. Fitting the puzzle pieces together, Vegeta came to the recollection that Granolah probably pulled Monato off of planet Namek just in case his Dragon Balls could be used in the future to undo something tragic. But if that was the case, why hadn't they contacted the Dragon Team yet? They knew the location of Earth. If they were able to, they could have just traveled there, or just let them know where they were at any given point. The fact that they hadn't made Vegeta suspect that something nefarious was underfoot. Vegeta decided that Monato and Granolah needed to be found immediately, and he wasn't going to wait for Namek's Dragon Balls to be restored to do it. He exited his chamber and started looking for willing participants to come with him. Piccolo was the first person he approached. Knowing instant transmission was going to be invaluable, he needed someone like that in order to be able to hop from planet to planet very quickly. And, in addition to that, he had gained quite the respect for the Namekian. Despite the fact that he was using fusion to grow more power, he had also learned several moves that were respectable in their own right. He had actually started to see Piccolo as quite the sparring partner and someone that was almost on equal ground with him. Piccolo, having agreed that this was quite the dire situation and having respect for Vegeta at this point as well, decided to join. And from there, they decided to gather 3 more people to form a 5-person squad. They came across Bardock, Broly, and Vegeta's son Trunks, all 3 of which agreed. Trunks especially. He was excited to go on this adventure with his dad. "When I was your age, boy, I was already conquering planets. It's about time you come on an adventure like this with me. But don't tell your mom, okay?" "Yeah, Dad. I'm really excited to go with you, but can Goten come too?" "Absolutely not. Nothing against Kakarot's son or anything, but you need to form some stories of your own. You're also a little too reliant on that fusion. One of these days, you're gonna get caught in a situation where you can't rely on it. You need to be strong enough to fend for yourself." Trunks was a little saddened by this, but he actually understood. With that, the 5 of them packed up and then proceeded to the Galactic Patrol outpost. Piccolo did know instant transmission, but that didn't mean that they could just go to any area. He needed to be able to feel power signatures, and if there were none, they needed a ship to get there. So, they made their way there to request one. "Ah, yes, a ship requisition. You're going to need to fill out this form, and this one over here, this one, and initial this one right here. And don't forget to make it back in time for the medal ceremony, Vegeta," Jocko sternly stated, much to the irritance of Vegeta. Despite this, the prince filled out all the forms, and they quickly boarded the ship with the destination marked of planet Serial put into the coordinates. Back on Earth, Goku and Raditz were sparring with each other near Capsule Corporation, but keeping themselves in base form as to not cause collateral damage. Despite them holding back, however, they were causing quite a bit of a power on display, and it was to the annoyance of Bulma, who came bursting out of Capsule Corporation demanding that they chill out. The 2 of them agreed to take a break, but Goku was beyond excited to see that his brother was so powerful now. He definitely wanted to match his strength, but kind of do it in his own way. For now, though, about all he could do was spar with his brother and be proud of the fact that he had become so very powerful. But they couldn't relax for very long because, out of nowhere, a rift opened up in the sky, and out popped a familiar-looking time machine. A Capsule Corp logo adorned the machine, and as it landed, a figure that they immediately recognized to be Trunks came popping out of it. He looked older, however, by a little bit, and heavily withered, as if he had been practically starved this entire time. The tattered Saiyan barely made it out of the pod before he passed out, and the 3 of them immediately went to his aid, trying to figure out what was wrong. Trunks was comfortably rested, and after a short amount of time, he regained consciousness and looked around him to see the 3 figures. He looked at Bulma, then Raditz, then Goku, and didn't have a reaction. He merely started saying, "Vegeta," his father. But then he lost consciousness again. Thinking that maybe he just wanted to consult his father on something, Goku put 2 fingers to his forehead to try and use instant transmission, but he didn't get a lock on Vegeta. He knew that he was supposed to be on his own home planet, but he couldn't feel him there at all. Goku searched around the planet for other power signatures and came across Guine's. He was about to use instant transmission when suddenly Trunks regained consciousness and grabbed Goku's arm. Goku, it's horrible. I don't know who it is, but they're disguised as my father, and they're absolutely demolishing my entire timeline. What do you mean your father? Like a shapeshifter of sorts? Inquired Raditz, but before he could even get an answer, suddenly another rift opened in the sky. A lone figure came floating through the rift and gazed at the earth below them. The dragon team was shocked. Everyone there's jaw dropped as they looked at who was staring at the earth below them, scoffing at the beings at the ground, and as he locked eyes on the three of them, he smiled. Ah, I see. So the worm's a little time traveler and decided to come to the past for a little bit of help. And I see it's none other than two of you mortals that misuse God Key to boot. This is going to be fun. Goku and Raditz scowled as they sensed what was above them. They were staring at Vegeta, but it very clearly wasn't him. The aura was completely different. Someone was definitely masquerading as him, and they needed to get to the bottom of it. But that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. If you like this story, perhaps you'll like this one where Chi-Chi becomes a Saiyan. Go check that out for me, and I'll catch you in the next one.